bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you can see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you can see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say.
The first fight was expected to be just another dominant showing from Davis. Another quick finish and a name crossed off the list. But Lamont Roach had other plans. Instead of folding, he rose to the occasion, matching Davis's aggression, withstanding the heavy shots, and revealing flaws in Tank's approach that had been masked by his string of easy knockouts. This isn't just outsider speculation either. Richardson Hitchens, a close confidant and training partner of Davis, offered a candid take on Tank's mentality heading into the rematch. "I've told Tank privately, if he doesn't lock in, things could really go sideways," Hitchens said in a recent interview. "But he's a real warrior. Tank's fear of losing drives him. I think that night was a wake-up call. It made him realize how quickly things can unravel if he's not all in."
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
We did how many rounds? We probably did at least 8
Yeah, but you in the bag for about 8-2.
Yeah.
Good. You're not in bad shape.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach are officially set to clash again on August 18th. This rematch carries significant weight, with Davis making it known that he's aiming for nothing less than a decisive victory. The buzz around this fight isn't just about titles or bragging rights, it's about redemption. Ever since their first bout on March 1st ended in a surprising majority draw, the boxing world has taken notice. That result dented Davis's previously unshakable reputation, and he's been making headlines with his determination to set the record straight.
A game, it could go left for him.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell Tank that, behind closed doors, if he don't focus up, it can go left for him. But Tank is a true competitor. Tank is a guy that he's scared to lose. So I think that
kind of honesty from someone within Davis's inner circle is unusual, and it suggests that the bold, confident image Tank presents to the world might not fully reflect what's happening behind the scenes. Hitchens also noted that Davis has been dialing down the distractions, staying off social media, and putting serious time in at the gym. It's the kind of focus you typically see in a fighter who's had a close call. Someone who realizes just how narrowly they avoided a major stumble and is determined not to let it happen again.
Now, he's trying to please the fans possibly and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. Is it even worth it to please the fans who are going to love you one minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next. Next minute, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win. Or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
But is that level of focus truly enough? Even Hitchens seems unsure. Honestly, I think those two are pretty evenly matched. They've got history, they understand each other, he said. So, I don't expect a huge difference in the rematch. But with Tank's power, anything's possible. It's hardly a ringing endorsement, and it highlights a crucial concern. Has Davis hit a point in his career where raw power is no longer enough to mask the vulnerabilities in his skill set?
We're saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little wake-up call to take him back to the mindset of maybe where he was.
As if the pressure wasn't already mounting for Davis, recent remarks from Eddie Hearn have added even more fuel to the fire. The head of Matchroom Boxing hinted that Davis might be eyeing a way out of the Roach rematch altogether. In a surprising interview, Hearn stirred the pot by suggesting that Davis could be shifting his attention toward a high-profile showdown with social media sensation Jake Paul this November. "He's fighting Jake Paul, isn't he?" Hearn remarked, raising eyebrows and questions about Davis's priorities.
Me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
I'm not sure if he'll still go through with the Roach rematch, Hearn added. What I do know is he's lined up to fight Jake Paul in November, and possibly Shakur Stevenson after that. For a fighter like Davis, this kind of speculation can be risky. Chasing big money bouts is one thing, but entertaining a matchup with someone like Jake Paul, a figure often seen more as a spectacle than a serious contender, raises questions. It hints at a potential loss of focus, a shift away from the pure competitive drive that's fueled Davis's rise. And for Lamont Roach, that might be all the encouragement he needs. If Davis is even slightly distracted, Roach's chances in the rematch may be stronger than ever.
The hardest punch I ever faced. Nope. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Okendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He hard.
Roach, meanwhile, has kept a low profile, choosing silence while the noise surrounds Davis. It's a strategic decision, one that suggests he's just as sharp mentally as he is physically. He's already shown that he can go toe-to-toe with Davis, absorb his hardest punches, and keep pressing forward. That kind of resilience can wear down even the most confident opponent. And if Davis is already battling doubts, Roach may be perfectly poised to take full advantage when they meet again.
In that fight, a lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So
even Ryan Garcia, who once shared the ring and lost to Davis, has offered his take, cautiously backing Tank to come out on top in the rematch. "I've got Tank," Garcia said in an interview with Ez. "I think he'll shift into another gear. He probably underestimated Roach the first time, thought it'd be an easy night, and it wasn't. Now he knows it'll be a tougher fight, and I think he pulls it off. It's a vote of confidence, sure, but also a subtle dig." Garcia's comments suggest that Davis may have taken Roach too lightly the first time, and that realization alone could make all the difference this time around.
You're 1 foot out, you're going to get in the ring, and you're going to have that moment where you know you got to step it up, and it just won't come. I think that's
Garcia's comments essentially acknowledge that Davis misjudged Roach in their first meeting, a costly mistake that came dangerously close to tarnishing his undefeated record. And it's worth noting, Garcia himself is still bouncing back from a knockout loss to Rolando "Raleigh" Romero, another fighter Davis has already stopped. So, when your most vocal supporter is still reeling from his own setback, it doesn't exactly scream overwhelming confidence. Then there's Romero, who was finished by Davis in the 6th round of their own encounter. Despite that, even he is backing Tank to win the rematch. "I'd pick Tank. I think he'll make the right adjustments," Romero said in a recent interview.
Something funny. We was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11. We was talking right? But he like, "You ain't gonna win." I said, "Why not?" "What you talking about?" He like, "They ain't gonna give it to you." I said, "Oh, is that right?" So, you know, that's how boxing works.
That's a familiar theme among Davis's supporters. The belief that he can simply make the right adjustments and avoid another close call. But this perspective assumes his problems are purely tactical, as if a few changes during training camp will solve everything. It overlooks the psychological side, the subtle but powerful doubts that creep in when a fighter realizes he's no longer invincible. For Davis, this rematch represents more than just settling a score. It's a test to prove he remains the most dangerous contender in the lightweight division, that his power and aggression can still carry him through even the toughest battles. But when his own team hints at his fear of losing, and his promoter openly discusses alternative, less risky fights, it raises a troubling possibility. Maybe the legend of Gervonta Davis is starting to show cracks.
Something funny. When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11. We was talking right? But he like, "You ain't gonna win." I said, "Why not?" "What you talking about?" He like, "They ain't gonna give it to you." I said, "Oh, is that right?" So, you know, that's how boxing works. It's sad to say. You know, that's how boxing works. I'm not like totally upset. I figured.
The reality is, Lamont Roach has a legitimate chance to pull off another upset in this rematch. And some of boxing's biggest figures are already placing their bets on him. When asked about the upcoming fight, the current WBC World Lightweight Champion didn't hesitate. "I like Lamont to win the rematch," he told KO Artist Sports. "This isn't just an offhand opinion. Sparring sessions often reveal a fighter's true strengths and weaknesses, things that don't always show during the official fight night. If the reigning champion himself is impressed by Roach, that's a clear signal that Davis should be feeling the pressure."
I had something on the table. So people who think I'm taking this fight for money, it wasn't the thing. Because I actually had an offer that was higher than the Tank fight.
Oh, for real?
Yes. To defend my belt. So, for all the people who think I was, oh, he doing it for a check. That's what I'm saying. I just even wanted to shut people up.
I mean,
That's
we doing
my
it
thing.
for a check. We ain't doing it just for the check.
We ain't doing it just
doing
for
it
the check.
for
But
sure.
trust me, because don't forget, this is business.
It's prize fight. Yeah.
It's prize fighting for a reason. Absolutely.
It's not just current champions throwing their support behind Roach. Roy Jones Jr., widely regarded as one of the most cerebral fighters in boxing history, also believes an upset is possible. "I think he shocks the world again," Jones told pro boxing fans. Jones knows a thing or two about making adjustments. He's a former 4-division champ who reinvented his style multiple times throughout his career. When someone with that kind of experience says Roach has a shot, it's definitely worth paying attention to. That said, even Jones offered a caveat. The only difference this time is Tank will come in with a different attitude, a different personality, different motivation. It's a telling remark, one that suggests Davis's biggest hurdle might be his own mindset. A fighter who needs a mental reset going into a rematch is already halfway toward defeat.
There to play around, he's trying to smoke. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is a person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight. I don't know that. But Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand? You got to understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from. Roach is a very formidable opponent. So I'm not going to talk about none of that till we get by Roach, because what I'm telling you about the other stuff.
Roy Jones Jr. isn't the only boxing legend raising concerns about Davis's mental state. 5-division world champion Clarissa Shields, known for her straightforward honesty, shared her thoughts on Fight Hub TV, highlighting Tank's emotions as a potential weakness. "I think Lamont will be even better in the rematch," she said. "Right now, I believe Roach takes it, mainly because I think Tank needs to overcome his fear first." Shields didn't stop there. She pointed to Davis's recent distractions outside the ring as a major factor. "Sometimes anger fuels a whiny fighter. You don't want to lose control entirely, but you have to channel it," she explained. "Tank is so frustrated by things in his personal life that it's hard for him to harness that energy when he steps into the ring. I honestly think therapy could do him a lot of good." It's a bold observation, suggesting that Davis's struggles go well beyond just the technical aspects of boxing.
Going through your mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, you know, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in I lost track in the rounds.
Even rising star Keishan Davis is already looking ahead to the winner. "If Lamont beats Tank, I'd love to face him next," Keishan told Fight Hype. "There's only one fight that makes sense in the lightweight division after that, me versus Lamont. That's a direct challenge. Exactly the kind of call-out that can heat up a division already packed with talent." But what's really notable is how Keishan talks about a Roach win as a genuine possibility, not just a long shot. This marks a subtle but important change in how people view the matchup. Not too long ago, the idea of Davis losing to Roach would have been written off as unlikely. Now it's a serious topic, and that alone is a win for Roach's team.
If you go my honest opinion, I feel like me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division.
Yeah.
Lamont Roach stood right there with Gervonta, the hardest puncher in the division, right? So put him up against me, I'm not going nowhere.
Y'all really gonna box, man.
We gonna fight. I feel like stylistically, that's one of the best matchups in the division for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of rolling in that fight.
You know,
That said, Keshin's challenge isn't without its complications. He's a big lightweight, one of those fighters who rehydrates to a much heavier weight after the scale drops. That size difference could turn any matchup with Roach into a risky proposition for the smaller, more compact WBA champion. Keshin even acknowledged this, saying, "For real, if you beat Tank, let's fight. Tank or whoever. If you win, I'm down." But the unspoken truth is that Roach might be stepping into the ring against someone who could balloon up to junior middleweight, size overnight. What should be a test of skill could quickly become a physical mismatch. And that's a risk that could stall Roach's rise just as he's gaining serious attention.
Like, I just think Lamont was just better than what everybody was expecting him to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lamont can really fight. You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying that, but I also been saying that I thought Tank was gonna knock him out. You know what I'm saying? So he proved me wrong that, like I said, he better than what we made him out to be. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think like Tank got.
Recently, Lamont Roach made a noteworthy move by teaming up with the What's Up with Hate social media campaign, which promotes respect within the sport. In the campaign video, Roach shared, "Everyone knows boxing is brutal and highly competitive, but that doesn't mean we have to be enemies outside the ring." It's a commendable stance, no doubt. But let's be honest, this is boxing, not a charity event. Fans don't just come for technical skill or good sportsmanship. They crave the drama, the rivalry, and the intense tension that makes every punch hit with real emotion.
I happen to be a boxing fan, that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we take it?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
Roach's approach, while certainly admirable, runs the risk of softening the very element that keeps boxing electrifying: genuine rivalries. Mutual respect may sound ideal in theory, but it's not what fills arenas or drives pay-per-view sales. What sells is the grudges, the fiery words, and the personal stakes that turn a fight from a simple contest into a full-blown battle. Think of legendary rivalries like Ali versus Frazier or Tyson versus Holyfield. They were more than just skill matchups. They were clashes of willpower, with each fighter convinced the other stood between them and their place in history. Meanwhile, the Haney camp seems to fully grasp this reality, and they're ready to capitalize on it.
Like the betting me that he gonna knock me out and stuff like that, that didn't go too well for him.
Did y'all bet?
Oh, we bet and we shook on it.
We paid up?
He changed his number.
Yeah,
Again, there's a high level of mutual respect for each other. Like I said, we done bumped into each other plenty of times. More than the average boxer would see another boxer outside of boxing. So it's cool. Like, he cool with me and I'm cool with him. If we were to see each
On a recent episode of the Cigar Talk podcast, Bill Haney, the father and head coach of undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney, sent a pointed message directly to Lamont Roach. "Lamont, get to work. No more talking. Have your pops sit down and talk, because that's how we do it. Devin's putting in the work, and I'm handling the talk." It was a sharp, calculated jab, calling into question Roach's mindset and dedication compared to the relentless grind of the younger Haney. This wasn't just casual trash talk. It was a strategic move designed to get under Roach's skin. The Haney camp, talk isn't merely background noise. It's a finely tuned weapon they wield with purpose. If Roach hopes to win the mental game, he may need to ditch the high road and meet them head-on in the trenches, because while respect is admirable, it's not what strikes fear into an opponent's eyes when the bell rings.
You don't have enough experience. You really should have waited and took your time before you came to me. And that's what Gervonta Davis told him. And he was right. He was absolutely positively right. And so now here we are, him fighting this cat Roach. And I'm like, isn't this dude like junior lightweight?
Super featherweight, moving up to lightweight. Yeah.
No, there's no.
There's also the question of Roach's mindset. By aligning himself with a campaign focused on stopping hate, he's essentially signaling that he's more invested in his public image than in fueling the kind of personal animosity that drives blockbuster rematches. That's a risky stance in boxing, where respect only carries you so far. Fans want bad blood, They want to believe these fighters truly can't stand each other. If Roach keeps up this all-love approach, he risks coming across as the passive, less hungry competitor, a perception that could be dangerous against a fighter as explosive as Davis. On the other side, Davis's camp is working hard to project confidence, but even they can't completely mask the cracks showing through. Rumors about his focus, distractions outside the ring, and mental readiness for this rematch are growing louder by the day. Shield's suggestion that Tank might benefit from therapy hits hard, an attack on pride that could either ignite a fierce comeback or throw him off balance entirely. And with legends like Roy Jones Jr. openly acknowledging Roach's potential to shock the world once more, the spotlight and the pressure is firmly on Davis to prove he's still the feared puncher who dominated the division just a few years ago.
Just overall being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself. But I'm a competitor, and I feel like I'm the best. So I'm a show up.
When he talks about you not bringing your family, what goes through your mind?
As the rematch draws near, it's becoming clear that this isn't just another title bout. It's a defining moment, a test of character, a fight for legacy. For one man, it's a chance to reclaim control of the narrative and quiet the rising tide of doubt. For the other, it's an opportunity to rewrite his story and prove that the first time wasn't a fluke. It was a warning. For Gervonta "Tank" Davis, this is about restoring dominance and reminding the world why he was once considered untouchable. For Lamont Roach, it's about redemption, validation, and seizing the kind of moment that changes everything.